Hi there, this is Srikanth Dasari. So, in this lesson, we are going to focus on increment and decrement operators in Java. So, first, let me launch the IDE. We know that we are using NetBeans 8.0, which takes a moment to load. Okay, it takes a moment to load here. Since my system is a bit ancient, so you might have a good PC configuration. So first, let me create a new project here. So as soon as the NetBeans got loaded, file new project. So let me select the Java application, and let me say the name of the project as increment. So whatever you wanted, you can inc, or let's keep it simple, inc dec. Okay, let's hit enter, finish. So NetBeans takes the privilege of creating the empty structure of our program. So let me get rid of all these comments here to make it clean Java file. Okay, so I'm just adjusting the indentation. Okay, so the increment and decrement operators are going to be like this: plus plus and minus minus. Okay, so if you use the arithmetic operator plus a couple of times, so it gives you the, it's going to be the increment operator. So let's write that in our comment also. Let's make it two separate comments. So plus plus, okay, the plus symbol couple of times gives you the increment operator. Okay, so minus minus a couple of times gives you the decrement operator. Okay, so both of these are unary operators, which means that you need not supply two variables in order to build an expression to perform the arithmetic calculations here. Okay, so one variable is sufficient here in case to within one variable you can manage the results here. Okay, so to demonstrate the use of these arithmetic increment operators, so first let us take a variable, let's say spyware. Okay, so let's take another variable just to store the result. So let's say it is the result here. So now let's, to make it simple, so let's initialize some value to it. Okay, so now let's build an expression, so using our increment operator. So the sole purpose of this increment operator is that it increases the result or else the value of the variable stored. If we apply the increment operator on a particular variable, it gets incremented by 1 here. Okay, so here internally, so if you build an expression something like this, if you say ivar plus plus, so the ivar needed to be incremented by 1 value here. Okay, so that's the sole purpose of this increment operator. So let me just so okay, and also one more thing. So this is known as post increment here. Okay, so this is known as post increment. There is also another variant which we are going to look in a couple of seconds. Post increment, of where you are applying the increment after the increment operator after the variable. So as we have done here, which is known as this kind of expression, or this kind of using the increment operator in this kind of way is known as post increment. Okay, post increment. Okay, so now let's use our system.out.println, system dot, just print out the result here. So what's happening, underline system.out.println. Okay, so let's say the value of ivar is equal to, okay, let's use our concatenation operator plus, let's say ivar. Okay, again let's take the system.out.println, system.out.println. Okay, let's say the incremented value of ivar is equal to, So let's say again, let's have this concatenation plus operator. Let's say result here. Okay. So now, so if you run this tiny little program, so by pressing this green arrow or whatever, or F6, whatever you wanted, so you get the result here. Okay, it's taking a second. Okay, so here if you observe, the value of IVAR is 11, and it says that the incremented value of IVAR is 10. So you might wonder, you just got the output in a reverse way that what we have learned here. Okay, so that is because so there is a trick in this increment operators here. So you need to be very careful while using this kind of increment and decrement operators in your future scientific calculations. The reason is, so here this expression, this expression gets evaluated like this here. Okay, so it says that result is equal to IVAR is equal to IVAR plus 1. Okay, so that is the internal, the compiler takes this expression internally in this way here. Okay, so if you evaluate this expression, the first and foremost, the whatever the value that is stored in the IVAR variable, which is 10, and that gets stored in the result variable. Okay, and then it gets incremented. So for that reason, we are saying that as post increment. First, the value gets assigned. The value gets assigned to the variable, and then the value gets assigned to the left hand side result variable, and then it gets incremented. So for that reason, if you observe in the output here, you are getting the value of result, which is the incremented value, as 10 here. Okay, so first, whatever the value that is stored inside the IVAR variable gets stored in the result, and then it gets incremented. So for that reason, you are getting the incremented value as plus plus, which is 11 here. Okay, so for that reason, you are getting the value of IVAR as 11. Okay, so first let us write the heading here to say that it's post increment, demonstration of post increment here. First node out dot println. Let's have some decoration, although all these things are not mandatory. Let's say post increment. Okay, let's have these things. Okay, run your application, you get this title here. Okay, so in the same way, so now what we do is, let's learn how this pre-increment works here. So you need to be very careful while learning about this increment and decrement operators. So pre-increment, so let's again take the same result variable here. Let's say plus plus result is equal to plus plus post. Okay, so result is equal to plus plus IVAR. I'm saying here post here. Okay, so plus plus IVAR. So again, if you do a bit of decoration here, let's copy the whole thing, paste it, and let's say pre-increment. So just to demonstrate what we are going to do, pre-increment. Okay, so again, let's take the system.out.println statements. Okay, so now if you run your application, so here both the values are same here. Okay, so the reason behind you are getting the same as both for IVAR and incremented value of IVAR here, because the internally for this pre-increment, this arithmetic expression, if you are using a pre-increment operator, so first and foremost, whatever the value of IVAR, so the value of IVAR is now is 11. Okay, so if you run your application, you can learn from this previous expression the value of IVAR is 11 here. Okay, so what happens in our application here is, so first that value of IVAR gets incremented to 12, and then it gets stored in the result. Okay, so for that reason, you are getting both the IVAR and incremented value of IVAR as 12 here. Okay, so in the same way, we can have a decrement operator. Let's build an expression for that. Let's say result is equal to minus IVAR. Okay, or else first let's look into the post decrement here. Okay, So this is also known as post decrement. So for both increment and decrement, we have two different variants. For increment, we have post increment and pre increment, and in the same way, we have this post decrement operator, post decrement way. And if you say something like this, the result is equal to I where, and if you have the decrement operator in the pref or in the suffix of your variable, so you can say, you can take that as post decrement, and let's have this system.out.println statement just to separate. So let's say post decrement. So post decrement here, okay. So let's print out both those system.out both those results here. So now we need to change a bit here. So the value of I where, and let's also say that decremented value here. Decremented value here, okay. So now we have the decrement and the post decrement. We have decremented the value of I where, and now here also internally this expression gets evaluated like this. Okay, it says that result is equal to I where is equal to I where minus 1 here. Okay, so this internally this gets evaluated like this. The first it initializes the value of whatever the value of I where into the result, and then it gets decremented here. Okay, so if you run this application, so you know that the value of I where is 12 here. Okay, so the value of I where is 12. So here what happens is the first whatever the value is there gets decremented, gets initialized, and then it gets decremented. So for that reason you are getting the value of I where as 11 and the decremented value of I where as 12. Okay, so we have contradicted what we are learning about the basic thing of increment and decrement operators here. To be more clear, I have made this kind of program structure here. Okay, so in the same way you can have pre-decrement. So if you have, you can say something like this, pre-decrement. Okay, and if you have your expression here, so let's say result is equal to, so minus like that. Okay, so here again let's have the whole three things just to make the output somewhat clear. Let's say pre-decrement here. Okay, full screen, and here so let's say the value of I where. So now what happens is here the whatever the value of I where, if you run your application, you get better understanding here. Okay, so the value of I where is 11. So first it gets decremented and then it gets assigned to the result here. Okay, so for that reason you get the same value for both the I where and decremented value of I where here. Okay, so this is the basic stuff about the various variants or various ways to use the increment and decrement operators in our Java programming language. So see you in the next lesson. Goodbye.